Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear grade 6 students, hello again. I am Ahmed Al Farahati and I wish you all the best of everything. Today, inshallah, we will study Unit 2, Lesson 11. Please open your class book to page 18. Yes, this page. What are the aims of this lesson? Let's check. Unit 2, Communication. Lesson 11. Classbook pages 18 and 19, Activity 1. The aims. In this lesson, students will read and understand a biography. Listen to a biography for general understanding. Students are asked to listen and read the story in their books. Today, inshallah, we will study the story of Helen Keller, the life of Helen Keller. Activity 1. Read. This is a true story about a girl's life. This kind of story is called a biography. Inshallah, in the second semester, you will study the difference between biography and autobiography. Yeah, we have this word, autobiography. Okay. Read the story and find out how the girl learned to communicate with other people. Yeah, this is a true story. This is a biography. You will listen to the story, and while you are listening, read in your box. And also, use your pencil to underline any difficult word. And after reading, try to look up the meaning of these difficult words and write them in your vocabulary book. Let's listen.
Tape script 2.14.
The life of Helen Keller. Helen Keller was born on the 27th of June 1880 in Tuscumbia, a small town in the USA. She was a normal, healthy baby, but when Helen was only 19 months old, she became very ill. Helen's mother and father thought she was going to die. Fortunately, she didn't die, and her parents thought she was well again. Sadly, soon after her illness, Helen's mother discovered that her daughter couldn't see or hear. She was now deaf and blind. By the time Helen was 6, her family didn't know what to do with her. Helen and her family visited a doctor who had helped another deaf and blind child. The doctor told Helen's parents that she would never see or hear again. But they were told not to give up hope. The doctor believed Helen could be taught. He suggested that they should visit a local expert on the problems of deaf children. This expert was Alexander Graham Bell, the inventor of the telephone. Alexander Graham Bell suggested that Helen's parents should write to the Perkins School for the Blind and ask for a teacher for Helen. Annie Sullivan, who went to the same school when she was a child, became Helen's teacher. In March 1887, Annie arrived in Tuscumbia to live with the Kellers as Helen's teacher. Annie immediately began to use finger spelling in Helen's hand to name objects. Helen quickly learned the finger spelling patterns, but thought it was a game and did not understand that they were the names for objects. One day, Annie took Helen to the water pump. As she pumped the water over Helen's hand, Annie spelled out the word W-A-T-E-R in the girl's free hand. Suddenly, Helen realized that the liquid coming from the pump had a name: water. Now she understood that there were names for everything. She was very excited and wanted to learn the name of everything she touched. She also asked for Annie's name. Annie spelled the name teacher on Helen's hand. Helen learned 30 words by the end of that day, and she never stopped learning. Helen's progress was amazing. Very soon, Annie was teaching Helen to read with Braille and to write with both ordinary and Braille typewriters. When Helen was 8 years old, she left her home with Annie to go to the Perkins School for the Blind in Boston. She learned quickly and had an excellent memory for details. Because of her ability to learn and remember so quickly, she was called the Miracle Child by some people. At the end of school, Helen decided she wanted to go to college. She was quite famous, and many colleges wanted her to attend. She chose the one college in America that did not want her, Radcliffe College. They thought she couldn't compete with students who could see and hear. This made Helen determined to go to Radcliffe College. She passed her entry exams and then, with Annie Sullivan as a translator, attended regular classes. She successfully completed her studies and graduated in 1904. While Helen was at college, she wrote a book called The Story of My Life. Later on, she wrote 2 more books about her life. Helen became very famous and spent much of her life travelling the world, giving lectures and telling people how they could help the blind and deaf. As she got older, Helen stopped travelling and spent more time in the USA helping to raise money for deaf and blind people. She was often seen walking in the garden talking to herself with her fingers. She died on the 1st of June, 1968.
Dear students, now you are asked to read this story again and again for general understanding. Try to understand the story of Helen Keller. Inshallah, in another lesson, we will deal with this story again and try to answer some questions. By this, we've achieved the aim of this lesson. Thank you for following me. See you in another lesson. Goodbye.